Welcome to TM Radio Broadcasting. My name is Frank Allen. We are live from Boston, Massachusetts. Today's date is Friday, July the 11th, 2025. To listen to the broadcast, dial +1 518 801 1318. When we are off air, you can listen on this line to past episodes 24 hours a day, 365 days a year. You can call into the studio to ask my guest speakers or myself a question at +1 617 987 8603. I would like to share a couple of different things before we get started this evening. I would like to share with you some great news, and that's DJ Chris is home recovering from his tragic accident. He took a terrible fall and must learn to walk all over again. But the great news is he can talk. Talk he will. We missed him last night. I did not feel well, so I elected to not have our conference call. And the next thing we have is a statement that was emailed to me by Norman Rabin. And it's the HHS public comment period. The United States Department of Health and Human Services has a public comment period to July the 14th, 2025. They are seeking public comment about any unconstitutional, unlawful, or otherwise undesirable HHS federal regulations. But maybe the public should also comment on absence of congressionally mandated or other regulations which, by their absence, fail to adequately protect the public from harms which congressional law has stated that the public should be adequately protected from. For example, Public Law 95-622 sought to adequately protect citizens from human research which is conducted or sponsored by any federal agency or department, including the Central Intelligence Agency and U.S. Department of Defense. Explicitly included classified human research from the scope of the law. Okay, that about wraps that up. And tonight, I would like to welcome here from New England, Dr. Linda Pimenta. Tonight, we will be discussing the target and his or her family. Hi, Linda. How you doing?
I'm doing well. Thanks for having me back on the show, Frank.
Oh, we can't do without you.
I know it's been busy.
Yeah, it has. It has. As targets, we have our good days and our bad days.
We do.
Tonight.
Oops, I'm sorry. Can I do a quick shout out to two people, if I may?
Sure. Sure, go ahead.
Because I don't want to forget, and I want to give a shout out to our friends across the pond, Allie, and some of you might know her. And I have a letter from Linda Critchley. I'm not pronouncing that correct, but she's from Suffolk, England. Linda's a 73-year-old woman who's being tortured, and she's reaching out for some answers and some help. So if there's anybody here that's in the UK, if there's any way you can give some resources to Frank that we could pass on, I would really appreciate it. Thanks, Frank.
Certainly. Tonight, We will be discussing, as I mentioned, the TI and his or her family concerns. This is a most touchy situation, as families will not tolerate, for the most part, any talk of targeting or what it entails. I tell TIs not to discuss it with the family. What's your opinion, Linda?
I agree for the most part. What's going to happen with the family is you're going to get one of three scenarios. You're going to have one scenario where the family is they'll do anything to go up against the other person, so they'll believe whatever's being told to them quickly, maybe even participate in the targeting. Then you have another scenario where the family will say, "You're crazy. I'm not seeing it. You have PTSD. You're psychotic. You're delusional." And then a third scenario is a family where they know that this is happening, but it's very painful for them to hear. It hurts them to know that this is happening to their loved one and there's absolutely nothing that they can do. In all three of those scenarios, you're better off to minimize anything that you're saying to your family. The key with the family is going to be, "I'm okay. I love you. It's good to hear from you." And if they ask if stuff is going on, yep, it is, but I'm doing okay. It's pretty much what you want to do.
Right, and I think I would draw the line at saying possibly nothing if you can.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
It's destroyed family relationships across the world. Very easy to explain. They can't see anything bothering you, but they know something is.
Right.
And unfortunately, they have chosen to label it with something else.
Right. And I know I talked with you earlier about this, and I'll have to get it to you so that you can put it up on your website. But this actually the FBI's training manual, game stalking, and it actually talks about how they work to manipulate the family against the individual. You could tell the person that wrote this is very negative because they were kind of saying, "Oh, families love to find out, to give dirt about the other person and their family." I think if you're a targeted individual, it's really a good idea for you to read that training manual. It might explain some of the stuff that's happening to you. Maybe it'll also put you more at ease when things start to happen. It's like, "Oh, that's what they're doing." Once you know what they're doing, it's easier to deflect.
Very good point, Linda. The principal problem is that the family members cannot see any change in you physically. Now, Linda, what signs show up to a professional such as yourself? What facial signs show up? Physical mannerisms?
So some of the things that you will see that would be indicative of somebody being targeted.
Okay,
First
we
of
have a
all,
caller. We have a caller. Hold on. Hi, caller. Go ahead. Hello.
Hello.
Hi, how you doing?
I'm doing okay.
Welcome to TM Radio Broadcasting. Do you have a question for Linda?
I just called in for the first time, so I have no idea what was even discussed. I just happened to see this in my email, and I just called in. I apologize. I just wanted to be able to ask a question, so I just called in to listen.
Okay,
Then
let me
call
just
back
check.
in the other number.
Yeah, you can do that. The 1318 number would be fine.
The 518.
Yes, 1318
Okay,
would be the last.
Yeah, I had no idea. I just thought you called in and then you mute yourself so you can ask a question. I have no idea what's happening. Thank you. I'll call back.
Sure, thank you. Now, Linda, I have a question for you. Did you hear that?
I did.
You did. You didn't have any problems.
Nope.
Okay. All right. I just
Did
wanted to
you?
make sure.
I know we did have a problem one time when a caller did call in and I couldn't hear her, and you had to relay. Let's hope we don't have that today. Hopefully the gremlins will stay away.
Okay,
Um,
you can continue on where you left
I
off.
will. Okay, so getting back to what we might see. So somebody who's targeted, they're going to be tired, right? Because one of the things that they do is sleep deprivation. And the purpose for sleep deprivation is it makes it easier to manipulate your mind. Targeted individuals usually are stronger, so it isn't quite as easy as it maybe would have been in the very beginning. So they're gonna look tired. You might see some twitching. They tend to like to make certain areas twitch. They make the eye twitch. They make the eyes flutter. You might see like almost like a tick in the shoulder or the arm or the leg. When the TI is talking to somebody that they know they can trust, oftentimes they get a little excited, and that's absolutely normal for your emotions to kick up. So your speech is a little bit faster anytime they're talking about what they're experiencing, because it's really traumatic. So that their speech will be more rapid, perhaps louder, higher pitched, maybe a bit disorganized, pretty much painting a picture of somebody who is psychotic, possibly ready to be involuntary emergency committed, when in fact they're not. It's just they're trying to communicate all the stuff that's happening to them. So there could be some cognitive impairment, both because of the sleep deprivation and also because of the attacks on the brain, whether it's Havana syndrome or whatever is being done to the individual. So those are the more common things that you may see. Paranoia is very common also.
Okay, very good. The mental changes can be very obvious to us, such as labored speech, a shaky presentation or salutation. Sometimes their voices are elevated to a higher level or range. How do these symptoms relate to known mental dysfunction?
So I did touch on that, but what you're describing could very much, especially if it's disorganized speech or a disorganized thought process, if you go night after night after night with interrupted sleep, cognitive, there's going to be some impairment. It doesn't mean that you're mentally ill. It means you're fatigued, but there's just no rest there. So a lot of times that's how they present when they're admitted to the hospital involuntarily as psychotic. They don't necessarily use schizophrenia as much anymore. They really use unspecified psychoses until they figure out the whole diagnosis. I'm really glad that the mental health community is now using the DSM-5 before labeling somebody as a paranoid schizophrenic. They have to really list how they're meeting that criteria. Getting back to this, disorganized speech, rapid speech, disorganized thought processes, and of course, rate and tone of speech is something else. Now, you talk about the trembling, the shaking, that is due to the neurological system being stimulated. With that, constant vibration is common, or you have other people who are constantly being hit. Richard Lighthouse talks about, them tapping you on the back of your head. Targeted individuals will get that maybe on the back of the head, maybe on the side of the head, the back of the neck. There's different areas. It depends. Each area that they're doing that to is going to follow the nerve pathways to a particular muscle group. So it depends on what they're going to try to make you do.
I see. The perpetrators have an MO that is actually born of hypnotism. Can you explain to our listening audience how you would suggest that they combat these attacks?
I know we've talked about this and I forget how you clarified that. Can you clarify that question for me again, Frank?
Sure. The perpetrators have a modus operandi that is actually hypnotism. Hold on, we have a call.
Okay, I remember what you were saying.
Hi, Terry.
No, this is Al. I just had a
Hi,
quick
Al.
question for you guys.
Sure.
I happen to hear the explanation of the sleep deprivation.
Right.
I've had a major problem with that, and I'm just asking. You might know something in this area, you might not. It's usually the with
AI is
me.
taking notes.
It's the bladder. They're hitting the bladder, so you have to go to the bathroom. Every hour. While you're trying to sleep. So I'm just wondering, do you have any shielding tips for that? Is that neurologically based, or do you have any kind of input on the shielding aspect?
Linda?
Can I ask, are you feeling like a tapping on your bladder from the outside? How is this presenting?
I'm delirious. I'm delirious. I mean, I'm trying to go to work, and I'm working in construction, so they're trying to prevent me from getting any sleep. So they're every hour,
Yep. Okay.
every all when you are trying to sleep. So what I've noticed in the last year or so, I was warned by somebody. They said, "Hey, they're using the muscles." So I had
Yep.
no idea what that meant, and I noticed that my muscles are filled with some type of energy. I don't know if it's microwave orientated or whatever. So I use like a massage vibrator and try to massage the muscles, and I notice it does relieve a little bit of it, but they just seem to amplify the um, induction into your body, I should say, or something like that. I'm sleeping under something that should be shielding me. In other words, it's completely covering my body, but they're still able to get to me. And I mean, I guess when you go to sleep, you roll over your hand or arm
Right.
is
Yeah.
accessible your head, and that's all they need, and they can just fill your body with it, and then they just direct the energy built up in your muscles to your bladder. I have no, you're
So
delirious. You have no idea
try
what's going on.
something.
You're
Yeah,
waking
I want
up.
you to
You're
try
you're
something.
stumbling
Okay.
into
I'm
the
sorry, I didn't mean to
bathroom.
cut you off. Do you have a leather jacket?
Yes.
Try putting that leather right up against your skin, right around that bladder, and see. Yes, they're using electricity and whatever chemical or gas that they're using to activate this. It is following the nerve pathways to the muscle group that they want, which for you it's your bladder. Some people they put water in your bowels and make you have watery diarrhea. Try and see tonight. Put that leather jacket right up against your front and put it so that it's not going to fall off when you roll over,
In other
and
words,
see
tie
if
it
that
around
helps.
your lower extremities, your genital area.
I would put it almost like a diaper. Yep, that's what I would try. See if it works. Now I'm going to tell you why I'm telling you that. If you look at things, so if they're using electricity to get this to work, right? Because that's how they're getting the energy. What does not what can you use against electricity and not get hurt is leather, glass, right? Water will deactivate a lot of this stuff, even though it is a conductor. But leather does work. So I would try that. I don't know in your situation if it works, but I have heard in several situations the leather works.
It does because when I do get up, I'm trying to get out the door to work. That's what I put on in the morning, plus like a samurai helmet
Yep.
made of something that's going to help shield the brain or the back of the neck or whatever. But yeah, of course, yeah, it does work. It
Okay.
Okay.
does
Try
work,
making
and
like a diaper
also,
out of it.
yeah,
Uh,
yeah, no, it does. Yeah, I'll try it. I'll try. I'll just take a jacket and tie it around me. I got a couple of leather jackets. I could
Yeah.
buy leather and to make something like that, and I can't. I'm not a seamstress. I don't know where to start, but
You know, I
I'll
wouldn't
definitely
sew. I
do
wouldn't
just
sew it,
that.
but I
And
mean, because you can always use other things too. You can get those ace wraps. Just don't do it too tight, but you can do something just to hold it in place. But depending on how big the jacket is and how big you are, I happen to have a 3/4 length leather coat that I bought years ago, so that covers most of my body.
I
And
get
there were
it.
days, and
Oh,
I
that's
would
a good
wear it inside
idea.
out.
Yeah, I also am using something that's jamming it a little bit, but they're
Yeah.
able to, I don't know how to use it very well, but it is helping, and I've got it right next to me, so it's definitely
Oh,
helping. But it's more a
so is that a
neurological
frequency?
jamming type
Is
of
it,
mechanism. Pardon
yeah.
me?
Is that a
But
frequency
that's
jammer? Is that
helping.
what you got?
Yeah, it's the cyber shield setup.
Okay. All right, good.
That's
You know,
very
so I have
good.
that right next to me. I just added that. But before I didn't have to because I had a complete thing that supposedly would shield you. So then they heat you up, and so you're trying to roll
Yeah,
around, or I've always rolled around in my sleep anyway, so something's going to be available as far as the muscle thing. I just wanted to know if you have any good ideas. Okay, well I will. The leather does work. I don't know if it's going to stop that direct. You got to go to the bathroom, wake up, idiot. That's how I
yeah.
feel.
I don't know if it will or
Yeah,
not,
it's
but I mean,
really
I
interesting.
also would shield your head too.
Right. And I would
Yeah,
shield your head because possibly maybe dealing with subliminal cuts that are actually being directed at you that you can't hear that are saying things like, okay, your hand is in warm water over and over and over again. You'd be
no, I don't
surprised.
get that. I
No,
don't get that, but it's
you wouldn't hear
no,
it.
it's the direct hit to the bladder.
Okay.
The direct
Okay.
hit. It's they're not playing. They're close. It's bad here. This is the first mental hospital in the country in Seattle, and they feel like they're all you know. This is where they just had the weapons. I mean the torture case in Spokane. The two dudes, they were psychologists from the military here. They sold to the CIA, so they think they got carte blanche here. You're not going
Uh,
to stop these people unless you hunt them down. They're just going to sit there with their little platform and just do whatever they want.
yeah.
So I don't know.
Well,
I have no idea as far as any of this, all that stuff goes as far as where and who, but I have a pretty good idea. But still, that's why they just amp it up. They got the towers, man. They amp it
Yeah.
up. They do whatever they want. You think you're going to shield? You got to realize the mentality here is really dementedly ill. It's a psychiatric, mental, medical, and them too, so who knows what these weirdos are doing. Okay. Anyway,
yeah.
I will do that shielding thing until I can get the culprits that are nearest to the bladder area. I just thought maybe you might come up with something like, oh, you have an implant in your neck, or oh, you got to shield your neck, or oh, you got to shield a certain thing in your body that will prevent them from shooting that to your bladder. That's what I was looking for, but that's not
I
happening,
mean,
I guess.
in all honesty, I would probably have to spend an hour and a half with you to go over everything to even answer that any better than I just did.
Oh, I really appreciate it. Thank you very much, guys. Really very informative, and I'll jump right on it. Thank
Thank you.
you.
Thank you
Have a
so
nice
much.
weekend. Okay.
You
Yes.
too.
Thank
Bye
you.
now. Yeah, that's a
Okay.
situation that they wait until you are absolutely in the middle of traffic, bumper to bumper, 4 lane, and then they put that on you. And it's
Yeah.
like, it's terrible,
It's so cruel.
Yeah.
Yeah. Very cruel. Getting back to your question about the trans, yes, you're right. There are subliminal messages that people may or may not be aware of. There's one thing I want to let you know. I mean, so they'll make you fall off to sleep. They might put you in a trance. Those things, what you can do if you notice that they're starting to do that to you, get up right away. Don't continue sitting. If you don't want to fall asleep, get up, have a cold drink of water. Try to avoid alcohol if you can, because that's going to make you sleepy and it's going to make it easier your brain to be penetrated. Eating something, but you don't want to be eating in the middle of the night. I want you to get some comfort in knowing that for the most part, your brain is not going to let you follow an order that is morally wrong for you. As much as I really feel there's a lot of these mass shootings, and I really do feel it's mind control, and I do feel that they were targeted and they were either subliminally or something told to do this, those mass shootings. If they were going to do that to me or you, Frank, there's no way we're going to pick up a gun and go and start doing that because
No.
even under a trance, I wouldn't do that.
No, you
I
couldn't.
don't want to hurt people. I want to help people.
Okay, we're going to have to go to commercial here in 3 minutes. Do you want to wait the 3 minutes or do you want to go there now?
But why don't you go to commercial now? It's a good break right now.
Oh, okay. We'll be back in about a minute or so. Thank you so much.
Chris, I've been hosting events for targeted individuals, but no one ever comes.
You need tievents.org. It's where TIs find all the events, conference calls, meetups, webinars.
How do I get listed?
Just go to tievents.org. It's easy. tievents.org, where the TI community connects. List your event today.
Okay, thank you. That was our commercial, and we can get back to our regularly scheduled program now. Oh, God. As far as hypnotism goes, just to get back to that, I would go to Jesse Beltran.
Yes.
I intend to do just that because he is the best. He is a master hypnotist, and he knows what he's doing. That's who I would recommend.
I agree.
And
Jesse has a good background. Also,
Yes, he
Frank,
does.
so he can help find implants. He can help scan.
Right, he
for
he can also hypnotize you and possibly find the culprits while they're at it.
That's so he's very important, and I'm sure you had him on not that long ago, didn't you?
I believe it was probably a year ago, and I'm going to ask him
is that
if he would like to be a guest once again.
Yeah, we probably should do a panel. Wouldn't it be nice to do a panel?
Yeah, I would like to do that. Yeah, definitely. We could have possibly you and Jesse and maybe Ann Toledo, and we could
Yeah.
have a roundtable discussion. We haven't had one
Yeah.
for a long time.
I
Okay,
agree.
let me get to our next question here. Now, older TIs are subjected to diagnosis by age. That's what I call it. Some are institutionally confined to state mental hospitals or nursing homes. And I have reacted by appearing at the holding facility and making it known that the person in question is a benefit to the community and that there is no reason for holding said individual. Are there any organizations outside of the community of TIs that you could recommend as an intervention?
So we're actually listening to one of them right now, which is the Allen Foundation. That's so wonderful, Frank, that you've done that for a few people. And I jokingly told you, if anyone ever tries to do that to me, you're my first phone call. Any place that there's a couple, you have your institution, and I think Goji on Targeted Justice does also. You're not going to have much luck finding a lawyer who works with civil rights. They seem to stay away from these cases. You really have to find one that's sympathetic to the targeted community. You're going to get some resources, targetedjustice.com. I know that website was taken down and they've come back up and it's slightly different, but it's basically targetedjustice.com. Anna Toledo, and there's another attorney. He's on the Targeted Justice website as well. You could always send a letter, but it would be nice if we did have a list of people in the community that have some expertise in human rights, in law, where they could stand up and help you to advocate for yourself, because you're not going to be able to advocate for yourself. They're just going to say you're delusional or you're psychotic.
Very good indeed. I just wanted to get into something that is really terrible, and it's something we have to look at. Homeless TIs are confronted with yet another problem: how to shower, shave, or just actually to keep looking normal to the average passerby. When confronted by an officer of the law, they may not have the right answers to his or her questions. Should they at least register with a homeless shelter?
I think if you're homeless and a TI, you know what your resources are, and you're going to know what your resources are by going to a homeless shelter. What do you want to find out? Where can you get a hot meal? You can get dinner every night, maybe breakfast. You can get a bed if you want to stay in one of their shelters. Some of them actually have programs that they can help you to get an apartment if you're not one to sleep in a shelter unless it's really very, very hot out or very, very cold. I absolutely recommend you would go to a shelter under those conditions, even though it could predispose you to harassment, theft, things like that. It's a homeless shelter, and everybody's kind of in a closed in space. But if you have a car, that would be a best bet during weather conditions that you're not going to overheat or freeze, because you can lock your doors, you're safe inside your car. There are certain places that you can park legally overnight. I think Walmart used to let them, but you were telling me there's a couple exits off the highway in Massachusetts where people can pull over for a few hours to sleep. Where were
Right.
you saying?
There's 4 or 5 on Route 3 South. I-95, there are a few. And on the Mass Pike, there is one that I know of.
Right. And when you see those tractor trailer trucks too,
Hold on,
I
we have
mean,
a call. Hi, Lauren. How you doing?
Hey, Frank, how you doing?
Good. We have Linda Pimenta on tonight. Would you like to ask?
I know. She and I talked earlier. Yeah. Hi, Linda.
hi, good to hear from you again.
Yeah, I know. I'm just coming in. I've been trying to struggle with this cell phone that's cloned. I tell you, if it's not one thing, it's another. But I'm so glad you're here again, and I want to join the conversation because I have a story to tell.
Okay. Oh, go ahead, Linda. Okay, Lauren. As long as Linda doesn't mind, I don't mind.
Is it okay at this time? I know I'm just coming in. Do you
That's
have any other callers on that?
Well, there will be callers behind you, but there is a calling queue. So
If you feel you have something that the community needs to hear, then why don't you go
exactly
ahead? You have the floor.
right.
Okay, certainly I will. This is not really anything that I care to talk about, but it needs to be discussed. And I can't imagine that I'm the only person that's going through this, and y'all bear with me because it is difficult.
Okay, go ahead.
On June the 7th, 2025, I was dealing with a person that became extremely aggressive, whereby he put both of his hands around my neck. Sorry.
No, go ahead.
So actually, maybe I should not discuss this because this is going to trial. What happened to me on June the 7th, and I don't know if I probably need to be discussing it until after the trial. So, Linda, maybe you and I can discuss
I
it.
recommend you don't discuss it yet.
Yeah, I just thought about that.
So I'm sorry. Is
but
that why you called me today?
yes, it is.
Okay, I'm sorry. I just wasn't at a place I could talk.
Oh no, I understood that, and that's okay. That's okay.
Are you okay
Um,
though? Did you get hurt?
yes, and I'm still hurt physically and emotionally and everything else.
I'm sorry to
But
hear that. I'll
yeah,
keep you in my prayers.
I thank you.
Okay, thank you very much, Lauren. We'll be in touch.
All right, Frank.
Bye now.
Okay,
Bye.
we were talking about homeless. And I was kind of saying that your car, you're going to be safer in your car because you can lock the door. I do not recommend you run your heat or air conditioner. I actually did see, this is Amazon Prime Days, and they have a generator, solar generator, that's on special on Amazon Prime. I was like, wow, that's really a pretty good idea. So that somebody that either wants to go camping or travels, and it gives you electricity without having to put any fuel in there, because usually it's propane or gasoline that will power a generator. I would not recommend running your engine to cool it off, your car off, or to warm it up. Planet Fitness, for those who have a Planet Fitness in their area, I think it's like $10 a month that you would be able to join. And if you have a place like that, and if you have the means to join it for that amount of money, I recommend that, because you can go in when the elements are bad, the weather's bad. If you're too hot or too cold, it's going to be climate controlled. They've got hot showers that you're going to see other people. You'll be able to get all cleaned up. Plus, if you want to sit on a bike and pedal for a while, or use any of the equipment, it's all there for you, and that's all good for you as well. Because if you're homeless and you're living in a car, you're probably not getting as much exercise as you should. So this would be a good thing for you. And exercise is very important. It increases endorphins in your brain. It's going to help you to be more physically healthy and physically fit. As far as answering questions with law enforcement, anytime somebody asks you a question and you're not really sure how to answer the question, you can do a couple of things. You heard me do one of them tonight, asking Frank to clarify his question, because it would give me a minute to think about what I was supposed to say. You can ask them to repeat the question, or say, do you mean this? What do you mean by your question? Can you explain what you mean? And that's going to give you time to think about what you want to say for an answer. It's okay to say, I don't know, I don't understand what you're saying, rather than to say the wrong thing and end up getting yourself in trouble. Frank, were you looking for more than that for an answer?
Not really. That about does it, I think. The next one I have, the next one I has, TIs are asset stripped, not limited to their real estate, by attorneys for the state or the federal government, when it is deemed that the individual is not fit to manage his or her own affairs, when in fact the individual is well balanced and in great shape. What would your suggestion be to this individual, Linda?
I would suggest putting any assets into a trust if you can. It doesn't cost that much money to do, to get a trust attorney. And you can ask around people in your area for who is good to do that for you. If you don't want to have a trust, if you're married, then make sure that both spouses are on the deed for everything, or even children. See, and on bank accounts, there must be a beneficiary so that it can't be stripped away. Otherwise, it can actually go to the state. You're correct. They can take it as lost funds. If they put you in a nursing home, then they're gonna empty out your bank account. They're gonna make you sell your house to pay for room and board. And then once everything's gone, then they'll cover you with Medicaid or Medicare. But it is important to protect yourself financially. It isn't just targeted people who are that stuff like this is happening to. I heard something, I don't know if it was ABC News or what it was, that some people are stealing your house right out from under you without you even knowing. I think they were recommending that you call your registry of deeds and say, in order for any change in my property, I need to be notified before that happens. I think that's a good idea. And, people will stop at nothing to rip people off. I don't get it. And I don't know how they're able to carry this, how they're able to do that. Have you heard about that, Frank?
Oh, definitely. It's a scheme. There was a woman very high up in government who was an attorney, and she accomplished that. And we have a citizen in Mexico. I'm not even sure if she is still with us, but that was done to her whole family.
Wow.
As far as the trust goes, yes. My best friend has a trust, and he's actually got a condo association between his brothers and himself. If anything happens to any of them, the state isn't going to come rushing in, if there's a medical emergency. But that's the biggest drain right there. If your health starts to go awry, you have to make plans to take care of your assets.
Yep. But the problem is your assets need to be secured into a trust. I think it's 5 years. They can go back 5 years. So if your trust is established now, as long as you make it to 5 years from now, they won't be able to touch it. But between now and 5 years, they can say, nope, we can take that money. So the sooner you do it, the better.
Yeah, the attorneys will sit back while they're relaxing. They're putting this time on your bill or your parents' bill. And by the time a week or so goes by, you have a colossus come in the mail. It's for hundreds of thousands of dollars between fees and the services rendered by whatever institution they are representing. And it's usually 10% for the institution and 90% for the attorney. That's the way it seems.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I don't know. I did my trust so long ago. I mean, my car is even in the trust. My bank accounts and my kids. I've got 3 kids, so they're all beneficiaries. So anything happens, they all have it, and they don't have to wait. It just instantly is theirs.
Right. It's a smart thing to do. Use the laws in your favor before they are used against you.
Yep.
Now we have another situation here. TIs want to move. That's what they want to do. Covered this years and years ago, that when you actually move from one location to another, the targeting follows you. Now, we had a woman in Ohio. Her name was Marilyn, and she wanted to move. She went everywhere. She went to Morocco. She went everywhere. They followed her. And I have another dear friend from Massachusetts who moved to Hawaii. And she is targeted fiercely. And she actually did work with targeted justice, and I think she still may be. It's proven that when you move, they move with you. Now, I have a question for you. Is a change as good as a rest?
It all depends. I mean, for some people, they thrive on change and they love change. But if you're moving because you're being targeted or being attacked, where are you moving to? Are you moving to where you have more resources, where you have more support, your family, friends? Are you moving back home? Or are you moving to a different area on your own where you don't know anybody, and it's going to be so much easier for you to be victimized because you don't know anybody and you don't know the area? And then another thing that you want to consider, somebody who's being targeted typically is they endure a lot of stress. Moving or changing a job, because you're going to be doing all of this at the same time, getting a different house, those are some of the top things that are stressors in your life that can lead to depression, suicidality, anxiety. Do you really want to move to a place that you don't know people and then risk doing that to yourself, making yourself a little bit less on a stable foundation from where you're at. If you're moving to family, yeah, go ahead. As long as your friends and family are going to be supports for you. But I wouldn't go and tell them I'm all about targeting, though.
Yes, exactly. And to my knowledge, a person who moved to Maui, her targeting has not changed. As you have said, moving is one of the most stressful things that a person can do. Okay, thank you very much. That was great. Now, we have had several diagnoses of Havana syndrome. Do you believe that we should seek out these individuals to learn how they did it, what doctor they used, and to possibly help others to do the same?
So I believe that if you have information that can help other people who are suffering, and it's not any skin off your back to share, why don't you share? Yes, I don't think there's anything wrong with reaching out, getting somebody on your program that can talk about how did you get that Havana syndrome diagnosis. But before, I just want to kind of pause on that. What are you going to do once you get the diagnosis? Because if you're looking for the diagnosis so that you can say, see, I told you, or are you looking for the diagnosis so you can file for disability? If you're looking for it, file for disability, I want you to consider a couple of things. If you get disability, you're not going to be able to work. Your income is going to be limited on what they give you. Plus, might be able to make like, oh gosh, I don't even know. It's not a lot of money. Can you afford that lifestyle of just a Social Security disability check plus working very little? If that's something that you can afford, then and you still want to pursue it, then yeah, we should get somebody in who can help you to get that information. And we do have some people who've gotten that diagnosis, and I believe are on disability because of it.
Very good. That is something that we will definitely have to pursue.
Yes, I
Then
think that medical symposium. It's been over a year. It was last April. I think Dr. Len Burr talked about it. I believe I know he got the diagnosis, but I also believe that he got approved for disability.
I believe he did. He'd
Yeah.
be a great one to speak with, one on one.
Yeah,
And
he's great. I like him. He's a good guy.
he is a good guy. All right, next. Now, family ties are important to everyone. When lost due to this targeting, the person has no one to turn to. Now, I have a friend out in California. Her name is Nancy Allen, and she has worked with me on a few cases before. I would like to get her number for you so that you can get in touch with her because she's a fantastic woman. She has
Okay,
given her life to helping others. So I'll get the contact information to you after the broadcast.
that'll be great. Thank you.
Okay. Now we have work-related problems, and they go along with family as well, simply
Yes.
because someone leaves for work in the morning and they come back home. Do you have anyone that you know of who has been going through this equally traumatizing situation at their place of employment?
Yeah, I hear several. It really it's hard. It's hard to hear the stories from the targeted individuals. I've heard multiple stories of people who are mobbed. What mobbing is it starts off with one person, and then one person tells two people, And little by little, they start getting everybody to turn against this person. Your work can be sabotaged. They spread rumors there's about you at work. They might cause a doubt in that they can trust that your work is correct. Therefore, it can cause a lot of problems for you. A lot of people will leave because of the mobbing, and some people will get fired because of it. It all depends on how well the person who's manipulating all of this does that. There are some people who are actually at work, and their coworkers are the ones who are at that time doing excuse me, who are doing the targeting or the torture. We heard, oh, it's the Heroes one. She's got the blonde hair. I'm so terrible with names. She has a great podcast, but I think this was a video. And he was a firefighter. I really wish I could remember his name. I think his first name was Steve, from Oklahoma or Oklahoma City. So he talked about the fact that here they are, working to help people. And when he started getting targeted, his coworkers were gaslighting him and causing a lot of problems for him. I don't remember all of his stories. I think he may have changed to a different fire station, but I'm not positive. I mean, this is the type of stuff that happens at work. They gang up on you. They might sabotage your work, try to gaslight you, try to make you respond inappropriately. So, that passive aggressive response, right? You have someone that just keeps doing something, keeps doing something to you, and you tolerate it, and then all of a sudden you finally have had enough, and you blow up, and everyone points a finger at you saying, "See, I told you they're crazy. See, you can't trust them."
Right.
That's the type of stuff that they do. It's all in the handbook.
Okay, another great answer with some great information. For the best legal advice and a possible lawsuit, I would, as we spoke of earlier, I would recommend Anna Toledo. Now, I don't know whether she's doing work on her own or not, but I think you will agree that she is a warm, compassionate individual, a targeted individual herself, and a real fighter in court. Do you think she is? You mentioned the gavel, that show, or actually, I mentioned it.
Yeah, she has again, you're right. That's what it's called, the gavel. I have watched a couple of them. She's a bright woman, and she's advocating for the targeted community. She's doing a lot of things. So if you're not following her on the gavel, or you can find out from targetedjustice.com. You can follow her, what she's posting. It's a good one for you to follow. They went to Washington, D.C., a bunch of them, to try to talk to a bunch of people about the program. But she is advocating, she's filing court paperwork, and she is having some strides. She is making some strides. It used to be that everything that was submitted was kind of rubber stamp denied. And I think in one of her appeals, Frank, didn't one of her appeals get accepted?
I am not sure, actually. The appeal gets accepted. I am not sure where it went.
I'm not sure where it went, but at least it wasn't instantly denied. So somebody listened, or at least pretended to, right?
I
So,
believe
but yeah,
that I believe that it went down south. I can't remember the state it went to.
okay, I think you're right, either out south or out west. But yes, I strongly recommend her. I don't think Anna has the ability to represent people individually. However, I'm sure that there could be a referral,
Right, right.
maybe she could refer you to somebody. I know that there are attorneys who are targeted. I've spoken to a couple of them. I get a lot of phone calls, and I've spoken to a couple, and I'm really wishing that I kept a list of people who call me and what it is that they do for work. but a lot of these attorneys do also keep in touch with the Allen Foundation, you, Targeted Justice. Hopefully, by asking around, we can get a couple of names, or you, whoever's looking for something, can get a couple of names.
Okay, it's that time again, that time of night. And I'd like to thank you very much for once again being a guest. And I'd like to thank all of my supporters and listeners. And I would like to say good night from Boston, Massachusetts. My name is Frank Allen.